Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Gnomeo and Juliet, featuring the voices of James McAvoy, Emily Blunt, Michael Caine, Maggie Smith, and Jason Statham, and directed by Kelly Asbury, from Shrek 2, if you could believe that. So, let's just get right into this, because, oh man, you're about to find out why. The movie opens with a gnome who tells how the story is predictable, and a brief prologue, and the gnome gets pulled off stage, which is a little pretentious, and the curtains open with the blue neighbor and the red neighbor hating each other, and that's what the movie's plot really is. Red and blue gnomes hate each other to death. Gnomeo, voiced by James McAvoy, is the animated version of Romeo, and I don't know how to feel about that character. Juliet, voiced by Emily Blunt, is the animated version of Juliet, and I don't like this version. I don't like the leader of both Blue, voiced by Maggie Smith, and Red, voiced by Michael Caine, both who are British and hate each other to death, which made no sense for casting reasons, but Romeo and Juliet, I get it. There are about a white male versus, I think, white female woman, or maybe something else, correct me if I'm wrong, falling in love while people on both ends hate each other. Tybalt, voiced by Jason Statham, is a character I don't like, not because he's a bad guy, but because he makes sense for Romeo and Juliet reasons, but the character was just poorly put together. But I do like Jason Statham as an actor. He's just in the wrong movie at the wrong time. Nanette, voiced by Ashley Jensen, kind of annoyed me throughout the movie, and I don't like her at all. Same with Benny, voiced by Matt Lucas, who was in the Alice in Wonderland and Tim Burton version and Alice Through the Looking Glass, who plays Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And those movies, but is a little better than Nanette, in my opinion. The animation is Shrek 2 level of pretty good but not great, and despite it being the same director, I feel like this is not the greatest animated movie by any means necessary. I do like when Benny sees on the internet after the race of lawnmowers from the day before, and the lawnmower race gets the blue lawnmower broken and by T-Bolt, and sees the Terraforminator, and voiced by Hulk Hogan in real life, by the way, and how much Benny wants it. But instead, the blue owner goes for the kitten mower. Both Gnomeo and Juliet have a good chemistry for a cartoon, but I hope the sequel can make them love each other as much as they do here. Featherstone, voiced by Winnie the Pooh himself, Jim Cummings. I really enjoyed his presence, and he's the only character I really liked in this movie, because he had a pretty good arc and had a very memorable lines about how Gnomeo and Juliet should be in love despite their hate for their colors. Benny gets his blue hat taken off by T-Bolt, gets smashed to pieces and killed, and I honestly thought I don't care enough for other than Featherstone. I don't care for any of these characters. So everyone is led to believe Gnomeo is dead, but his pet mushroom says Gnomeo is alive, and Benny gets the Terraforminator, and Gnomeo tries to go back to his garden, and he runs into Bill Shakespeare, voiced by Patrick Stewart, who I didn't mind in this movie, and I know why he's here, but unfortunately is probably the weakest scene in this movie as far as characters goes. So the garden gets blown up, and the Reds and the Blues learn to love each other, and they find out both Gnomeo and Juliet are alive, and the movie ends with Gnomeo and Juliet dance like it's a Broadway show, which could be satisfying for younger viewers, but I was like, let the credits roll already. Just really. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.3 out of 10. I'm a little concerned to go into the movie theater for the new movie, but I'll be happy if Featherstone comes back, so please, no spoilers yet. But this plot is told very weak for a Romeo and Juliet story, and from that version, or a West Side Story, and I don't care for these characters, but We'll see when I get to Sherlock Gnomes. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed like this. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Sherlock Gnomes. And until next time, Gnomeo, oh Gnomeo, wherefore art thou, Gnomeo?